So I got up and I walked out. And then a few minutes after I went outside, men and women came out, but 3 women came out very upset.
A blue tick on Twitter would cost around €80 a month. Its owner Elon Musk has tweeted saying the current system of who has a blue tick doesn't work. Currently the verification is given to notable accounts. It's rumoured a subscription model on Twitter would also allow users to edit tweets. It's 7:02.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to Ryanair. Fill up on mince pies at Christmas markets in Bratislava, Riga or Vienna.
Showers will gradually die out. It'll become mainly dry with clear spells, staying chilly with lows of 3 to 6 degrees. But later in the night, outbreaks of rain spreading across the country with strengthening winds. Now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With Gillette, in association with Movember. Effortless shave, magnificent mo.
This is News Talk.
You're welcome along. Champions League evening ahead. Most teams know their fate at this stage. Spurs don't. They need a point in Marseille. Dan McDonnell will be along for the football show. Slight tangent. Slot will cast an eye on the stories of the week. And the build-up to Ireland-South Africa began with a vengeance today. We'll bring you what Johnny Sexton had to say. Plus, the Springboks have named their starting 15 for the game. Rory O'Connor of the Irish Independent here in studio. 53106 is the text number. Michael McCarthy, hello to you.
Good evening, Joe.
And Richie McCormack on the line. What?
What's going on?
Wowzers, Richie McCormack is in studio.
Even poor Kenny outside. I was walking in the door and he was like, I was literally just dialing you to see if you were there.
Wondering why he wasn't answering.
Wondering why I wasn't answering the old Skype line or whatever it was. So yeah.
You often don't answer until they answer.
I don't. I can't. It's either I can't be bothered or the lads are just getting battered. So yeah.
Welcome to studio.
Thanks. It's very strange to be here.
This is what we look like now.
I can see why I've stayed away for so long.
Haggard.
Yeah.
Haggard. Older.
Rough. Yeah.
So very nice to have you in.
Thank you.
You're presenting a show on Thursday. You were in talking to Kelly Harrington for that show on Thursday, reading the book and all that jazz. So
I feel like I've read loads of books for the show over the last while. The last 2 books I've read have all been show related. So yeah, like read her autobiography. It's like it's rare that you read an autobiography, especially when it's ghostwritten and someone's voice comes through so clearly. Like it's literally like Roddy Doyle sat down in front of her with a tape recorder and just said, "Talk, give us your life there." And it doesn't, like, it's very hard to, outside of picking up names of like quarterfinalists at European Championships, etc., or whatever, to point to where Roddy starts and Kelly ends in the book, and that's, I think, a good thing for its readability, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I am currently reading for the show.
Go on.
2 brothers.
The Charlton one, Jonathan Wilson's one.
Bobby and Jack.
Yeah.
Jonathan Wilson. Top.
I've another brothers book about Jackie and Bobby that came out a few years ago.
Oh, right.
It's Leo McKinstry, I think, wrote it.
Couldn't tell
There's
you.
been I think there's been a few. But yeah.
Very good. It was on my table for ages. It was Arthur outside. When you're reading this book for me.
Eventually, Jonathan Wilson's like, these lads don't like us. Don't like me.
And I was like, okay, I've got to start this. And it was this is purely for work kind of a start. And 5 pages in, I was like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
It's going to be really good. And it is.
Did you ever watch the Kenny Live interview with Jack and his mom? Side by side with Sissy?
Yeah.
It's a remarkable bit of telly, that.
Yeah.
It really is. And she was a brilliant little footballer in her own right too.
Yeah. A few people say she was really, she would love to have been
generation.
Almost of a generation, or like, I wish I was born a man so I could have played football professionally,
Jackie Milburn's niece or sister?
Yeah.
Was it niece?
That's royalty, Jesus,
yeah. Kind of unbelievable. Did you see the statue of Jack put up in Ashington this week?
No.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's the first one of those statues that I feel that I've seen in a long time that I feel really does justice to the person.
Right.
He's standing there on a football, like with a football under his arm, like he's on the sideline.
Yeah.
But it's manager Jack, he's got the coat and the hat, but looks very like him. Isn't like all the rest of you are kind of thinking, yeah, it's a nice tribute, but there's something insulting about it, as we've kind of seen so many times, and it's just brilliant. And it's in a park in Ashington, where he's from, and I thought it was class.
Well, if you're in any way interested in this pair, or in fact any of the people of that era, then this book's for you. Like, there's about 10 pages on George Best, which are arguably better than a biography on George Best in certain instances, and he gets to the heart of the two men. And even it is amazing the extent to which Matt Busby and Bobby were really of the just go out and play tactics. tactics. Spare me tactics.
Don't need tactics.
You don't need
Is
tactics.
he a good player? Yes. Can he play football?
Precisely.
Yes. Stake him out there.
Go out and play. Whereas Don Revie, even though it's funny, John Giles would kind of say tactics are maybe espoused and talked about, but Don Revie, very tactical, a real thinker in the game, as was Jack, to the point that Jack was going to Lilleshall to get his badges early on, loved sitting around talking about football, the best way to play football, to organise a team. Whereas Bobby Charlton, if he had just walked over and you two were talking about football, he'd say, lads, if you're going to keep talking about football, I'm out of here. No interest. Let's not talk about football. There's nothing to talk about. Just go out and do it. So it was amazing. You can see where their careers in management went off in very different directions.
It's very easy to say just go out and play when you happen to be one of the best players in the world.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. So you're saying as a manager, Bobby would fit more into the Steven Gerrard sort of bracket, and Jack, Pep Guardiola maybe.
Yes.
Slightly different style of football.
Sorry, that is a slight tangent. So we'll talk to Jonathan Wilson in due course.
More on that later, perhaps.
We'll hear from Callie Harrington on Thursday's show. Richie talking to her. We should start the news round. It is, as ever, brought to you with Gillette in association with Movember. Effortless Shave, Magnificent Mo. You can sign up or donate now at Movember.com. Richie, where are we starting?
We start with the Springboks. They've shown their hand for Saturday's test with Ireland at the Aviva. It shows 3 changes to starting 15 from their last Rugby Championship outing, which was a 17-point win over Argentina in September. Cheslin Kolbe, surprisingly to some, starts a fullback for the first time in his international career. He starts in place of Willie LaRue, who drops to the bench. Vodacom Bulls winger Curtly Arenza starts in the right wing in place of Callum Moody. And Damien Willemse of the DHL Stormers comes in for Francois Stein at out half. On the bench, head coach Jacques Nienaber has deployed the bomb squad with a 6-2 split, and Nienaber was asked today about Colby's selection at fullback, I should say, and his reasoning for that 6-2 split.
The reason for the 6-2 split, obviously, we had a good look at the strengths of Ireland, and we feel the combination of the 6-2 split and also the combination that we selected at the back field or the back three is probably going to give us the best possible advantage against Ireland. So, that's the reason for the 6-2 split. We all know Ireland, probably one of their strengths is their multi-phase attack, their fitness, the speed of their breakdown. So obviously, we think that selecting that combinations, will serve us the best. And then your question regarding Cheslin, Cheslin at fullback, he was actually, I would probably say after about 3 or 4 games since he started with us in 2018, Cheslin was always a realistic option for us at 15 and trained at 15 often for us. We were just never forced to play him there, So not forced, but I mean it was never the opportunity for us to play him there. So, but like I said, we feel that this specific game, having Cheslin at fullback will serve us the best.
Their back three, a pretty scary prospect. Colby for obvious reasons. Curtly Arenza, if you've seen his speed of late, then you'll know what a threat he is. He is a big threat. And then Mapimpi on the other wing. So that's serious. And then the 6-2 split was expected. Obviously, I would think they're looking at Ireland's front row and in particular the replacements and saying, yeah, we fancy this. Because you think a feature of the Six Nations, even in Paris, was, well, how many minutes can we force Tadhg Furlong to stay out there for? 71, 72, 73, just give us a few more minutes, Tadhg. So he's not coming in, having played a lot thus far this season, so he won't be able to do that. And I would think the bomb squad, when they jog on after 55, 60 minutes, will really fancy their chances if the game is anyway in the balance.
And even on the other side of the scrum, I mean, we're kind of heading towards that now. You saw the difference that Andrew Porter made when he came on for Cian Healy against Munster a couple of weeks ago. And you just see that, wow, this guy's on a different plane of existence at the moment. And it's no offence to Healy, who's obviously kind of like at the end of his career. Yeah. But Porter's a different beast, and it's like he's going to have to go, same thing, 55, 60 minutes.
70.
And
he's going to go 70.
Yeah,
75.
but even that, like, I mean, are you even the same player for that 10 minutes? I don't know. No. But, like, that's against a fresh prop who's ready to go at you. That's definitely a concern. I also do think that as frightening as that back three is, I think Ireland will see an opportunity in Colby being at 15. It might not work out, but I think that's something I would say if you're Sexton, you're probably saying, right, well, do you know what? This is something untried, untrusted. Yeah. We will look to at least try to exploit that.
Yes, yeah, no, for sure. Porter, Furlong and Sexton, it really is the holy trinity of injury catastrophes. Difference between world number one team and gunning for a World Cup.
It's always been that way.
Disaster.
You think about like the Sexton, O'Connell, you know, and there'd be somebody else in the front row who could possibly pick up an injury, and suddenly it goes from, do you know what, we've got a chance here to, Christ, it's another quarter final, isn't it?
I tell you what's exercising some minds, Richie.
Go on.
Mick McCarthy, very much included. Ireland and South Africa will effectively be wearing the same colour jersey on Saturday.
And not for the first time.
Don't like it.
And not for the first time either.
It's the same in 17 when they played.
Yeah.
If you look up 2017, considering South Africa and Australia are the only two teams we need to think about when we're thinking of an away jersey, we really have nailed this idea of going for another shade of green to blue.
Yeah, even Australia, I don't ever remember us having to change against them. Maybe if they have a lot of green in their jersey or something.
More so South Africa.
But South Africa's the only team we need to do, and we've decided to go for these kind of cool jerseys that will sell, but the only time we use them, they're completely counterproductive. We would be better off wearing our home jersey.
Would we?
Oh, I think so. I think the shade would be brighter. And if you think of it, what are you seeing on TV? You're seeing shade more than colour. These are two dark jerseys. You know what I mean? You go, there's like navy with green on it and under floodlights, exactly. With
bit of fog, maybe.
Oh my God! Like it's I don't know. It's such a. We'll talk about it later, but it's such a disregard for the fans watching the game.
Yeah, and the thing
and
is,
I think the players as well, but and referees.
The thing is, the white jersey looks really well too.
I was like to go to Ireland white jersey.
Do people buy white jerseys? You don't see people. People don't wear white.
Come here, I've just thought of something totally different.
You might as well have just gone, shut up.
No, sorry.
Another thing, shut up.
So talking about two brothers, tell me, did you know this? This is why this book is great, because it's full of these moments where you're like...
What book? The book you were randomly started talking about?
Bobby and Jack Charlton, two brothers, John and Wilson. It's full of these moments where you're like, is that why this is bloody hell? So Leeds played in blue and yellow until Don Revie came along and said, oh, white's better, peripheral.
Yeah.
And then when Jack went to Middlesbrough, Jack said, Don had that white number, really worked at Leeds. Let's put a white circle around the middle of the Middlesbrough jersey, and that's why Middlesbrough have the white stripe now.
There you go.
As you were, sorry.
I like as you've taken the wind out of my sails there, Joe. I was just ranting and raving about. I don't think people wear white as such. I don't think if you were selling jerseys, I don't think I've bought a few Ireland jerseys over the years, but maybe. But some people will buy two.
Have you seen anyone wear the navy one?
By the way, that navy jersey isn't bad. It's a nice jersey.
Yeah.
It's just
pointless.
It's pointless. Yeah, exactly. Wear it against Fiji or something, you know, if you need to get the wares out of it. But
fair enough. When do Ireland name their team, by the way?
They do it on Thursday. However, Ian Henderson has manoeuvred himself into contention, having not played yet this season. The Ulster forward did train today with little evidence that his knee injury was still a factor. Jonathan Sexton was in front of the media today, and he said the pick of Willemse at out half for the box will be a danger.
Unpredictable. He's got fantastic footwork. He's a good kicking game, strong, so fast, obviously. So some traits that you wouldn't normally associate with a 10, but he's an excellent player. So personally, we're going to have to be ready to play, but we expected him to be named a 10. So we've done a little bit of analysis on him, and we need to do a little bit more again.
Rory O'Connor's going to join us this hour just to run through the South African team and general thoughts ahead of Saturday. So Champions League evening. Yeah,
and Tottenham need a point from tonight's Group D game away to Marseille. Group D really where it's all at tonight, I guess, to advance to the last 16 of the Champions League. Spurs without manager Antonio Conte, who's serving a touchline ban following his sending off last week against Sporting. 4 changes for Spurs tonight. They line out with Hugo Lloris in goal, a back 3 of Clement Longley, the returning Eric Dyer and Ben Davies, Ryan Sessegnon, Rodrigo Bentancur, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Ivan Perisic are across the midfield, and Heung-min Son and Lucas Moura support Harry Kane up top. Sporting and Eintracht Frankfurt meet in Lisbon in a straight shootout for a knockout place. Liverpool are already assured of their last 16 spot, but they might need to win by 4 goals at home to Napoli if they're to top Group A. For them, another 4 changes too. Alisson starts in goal. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ibrahima Konate, Virgil van Dijk and Kostas Tsimikas are their back 4. In midfield, a triangle, it would seem, of Fabinho at the base, Thiago Alcantara and James Milner either side of him, and Curtis Jones fronting it. Mo Salah and Roberto Firmino appear to be the front 2. Elsewhere in that group, Rangers host Ajax. There were 5:45 starts in Group B across the board tonight. As things stand, Porto are going through as group winners with 17 minutes to go. They lead Atletico Madrid by 2-0. In the group's other game, it's Bayer Leverkusen 0, Club Brugge 0, and everything's already settled in Group C. Group winners Bayern Munich host second place Inter tonight. Europa League bound Barcelona are away to Victoria Plzen.
It is a touch of a dud, the Champions League group stages finale. Certainly tonight. Tomorrow there are a few more questions to be answered. But Group A, Napoli, Liverpool, both through. Like Rangers, bottom of that. They're on minus 18 goal difference. I think 19 is the record. So that's what they're playing for this evening. Group B, Porto and Club Brugge through. Group C, Bayern through, Inter through. Nothing to be settled there. It is really just Spurs. Can they get a point? So I don't know why that is. I guess just one of those years.
Yeah, well, that Spurs group though is very open, so it makes up for it in that bottom can finish top if things go their way. But yeah, other than that, I mean, really nothing to play for. First and second in one of the groups, and nothing in two of them. Pity.
Yeah, it is a pity. Yeah, tomorrow, like I said, a bit better. A few of the second places to be.
Wait for 2 years' time. We've got the Swiss model coming our way. It's going to make things so much better.
Yeah, it's true. So Irish Open. We have a new date.
Yeah, it's on the move. Irish Open organisers hope its new date will attract stronger fields. Next year's tournament will take place at the K Club from September 7th to the 10th. It's moving from its traditional date in July, having been won at Mount Juliet this year by Adrian Moronk. The Irish Open comes the week after the Ryder Cup rankings are sorted and 3 weeks before the start of the Ryder Cup itself in Rome.
Yeah, it's hard to know what difference this will make, to be honest.
Shane Lowry seemed to be all for it, saying it would bring a strong field, but I'm looking at the timing of it.
Yeah.
And it's after, I know, like Mount Juliet and K Club weren't, links courses or whatever. Yeah. But it had a nice little groove going on there in and around the Scottish Open Championship being spoken of in and around that time of year. This is literally after the Ryder Cup rankings are done and dusted. Yeah. And before the Ryder Cup itself, so it's almost being used as a tune-up.
One of the arguments against it being next to the Scottish Open was that the marquee players would play the Scottish Open and the Open, but they weren't going to do 3 weeks in a row in Europe. So maybe you can tempt them over for one. The K Club obviously has the appeal of being near Dublin. I know we would all quite like, I think, links, but there is something to be said, by the way, for repeat venues. Like when you tune into Wentworth every year, or Valderrama every year, or that Cran San Sierre in the mountains in Switzerland, and you get to know a course, that kind of has something for it as well. So we'll see. There was, for the briefest couple of years there, it felt like the Irish Open was really flying, and now it's fallen back again. There's no, COVID was bad for it for sure.
Do players not want to play? I know there's other commercial reasons in terms of like playing on Parkland, but seeing as we're world famous for links, you feel like that could be an identity that we could, in terms of making the tournament bigger. But is players not want to play more links golf than they have to by just playing the Open?
It really varies. Yeah, you'll need to ask. I suppose in terms of getting the biggest, best field possible, people will balk at it a little bit. Some don't like it for sure. I mean, I think if we're moving to September now, the links becomes almost impossible then. The kind of incentive, come and sharpen up your links game before the Open, is obviously gone. Yeah. So it's more just visually and just the shots you show around the world, the hinge in the sunshine. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Although September is probably more likely to be the sunshine month if we're playing it here.
Do you know, September is my favourite month of the year for golf. Beautiful. September's always a great month. Think of that back to school weather. It's lovely in Ireland.
Exam weather back to school.
I wouldn't say you played much golf in the last couple of weeks in October anyway.
God, it's unbelievable. Filthy. Yeah. Played on Friday. Not sure the navy jersey is as bad as the purple or the grey numbers we wore against South Africa over the years. Crazy stuff either way. Any thoughts on the idea that bringing on props who don't need to be fit enough to play for 80 minutes is detrimental to rugby in general, says Paul? Yeah, I think Keith Wood, amongst many others,
he's raised that point a couple
of
times.
Banging that drum. And for safety reasons as well. That if you had to be fit enough to play the 80 minutes, you'd have to be smaller by definition. So that's been a big talking point. But I mean, what's the alternative? You have to have substitutes.
I suppose it feels like something... Went down the road of tactical substitutes in rugby, and it was hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube, really. But it does feel like something that's almost accelerating in terms of its, like, as a tactic. Yeah. At a time when making the game safer has become a bigger priority, and it's like as if they're on two opposite paths, but it's almost being ignored. You know, that both of those priorities. I don't know. It's a funny one, but I certainly see South Africa's 6-2, and you're thinking, right, we know exactly what they're going to do. this is not. I think that's a very straightforward point from the texter that it's not good for the game. So, are they going to do something about it?
No, I don't think so. Is the short. Shout out to Seamus Power as well, multiple winner on the PGA Tour now after the win in Bermuda, which is amazing. Really is amazing. He was 460 something in the world 18 months ago, so absolutely incredible. I know we've reached out to him. We'll try and talk to Seamus Power in the next couple of days.
Proper 4-day kind of performance as well. I was tracking it across the 2 days I was working on the weekend and then Sunday as well. And it wasn't as if he kind of came from nowhere and broke from the pack. He was, I think, 2 off, 3 off maybe after the first day. And was unlucky, I think, not to have been the outright leader after day one.
It's very commanding. And he went in as the top ranked player in the field, so he almost dealt with the pressure from shot one and saw it through, so it's amazing. We will talk about that on Golf Weekly, I'm sure, later on in the week. In the meantime, we are going to have a race for the GAA presidency. There's more than one candidate.
Looks it, yeah. Leinster Council Chair Pat Tehan has joined the race to be named the next president of the GAA. The Offaly GAA Management Committee have put forward the Coolderry native's name to succeed Larry McCarthy. Armagh are set to nominate Gerald Burns tonight. McCarthy will serve his final year as president in 2023 before the election of a new president.
Rhys McLennigan.
Yeah, fingers crossed, going well for him so far. Says he's feeling confident, having qualified for the men's pommel horse final at the World Gymnastics Championships. He placed first in this morning's qualifier in Liverpool. McLennigan's pommel horse final will take place on Saturday afternoon.
There is obviously full schedule across the November, so the All Blacks are in action. They've had a big loss.
Yeah, Brodie Retallick will miss his country's autumn internationals against both Wales and Scotland this month. He received a red card during their match against Japan at the weekend. The 2-game suspension means Retallick should be available to face England at Twickenham on November 19th. And Scotland lock Sam Skinner has been forced to withdraw from their squad through injury. He was substituted during the first half of their 1-point defeat to Australia on Saturday. He left Murrayfield with his foot in a brace. Edinburgh's Jamie Hodgson, who already has 6 caps to his name, has been called up as a replacement ahead of their autumn international against Fiji.
Texting lads, what about Ronaldo blanking Nev? Not since Millhouse have I seen a heartbreak.
That was Ralph, surely. Ralph Wiggum.
I don't know, I'm just reading out the thing.
Don't get Simpsons
Ralph Wiggum. I saw a pretty...
Did Lisa not break Millhouse's heart as well?
She's gone around breaking hearts all over the place for an 8-year-old. There is the famous heartbreaking. You can see the moment his heart breaks and slow motion is Ralph. Yeah,
that's Ralph. We get the point. I didn't think Neville was that perturbed, actually.
You don't think so?
Not especially.
I think you could kind of see in the moments that he was like, all right, that's how this is it?
Did you notice, though, he knew it was coming, I think, because he made no effort. The way Redknapp was realising, well, I'm next in line after Saha, and was moving to be in position to high five, Neville was staring straight to his own left. He was making no move. It was like he knew he's going to blank me.
I was more troubled by the fact that Louis Saha started off that punditry gig looking like he was in witness protection.
The sunglasses?
Yeah. The sunglasses. I'm going,
I know.
It's dark, Louis. Like, I know, So he's either trying to hide from
Louis, the clocks went back.
There.
It's dark.
It's like, come on, man. You don't need the sunnies there. Yeah. It's grand. I appreciate the look and all
that. Well, I got the impression, I'd say Neville had heard through the grapevine that Ronaldo wasn't happy with him and therefore was anticipating the snub.
But I'm more interested in Ronaldo's, not even making it obvious, not even trying to hide that he's reading and listening to everything about him and taking everything so personally. It's such a strange phenomenon for a guy who's on such a level.
Yeah.
For him to be so blatant about how much he's worried about what every person is saying about him and writing about him, and remember that thing where in an interview with him where he's talking about having the notebook of all the times he'd been slighted. Such a weirdo, isn't he?
I like the idea of him kind of taking in his clips on Twitter or whatever, and maybe doing his morning workout, listening to Jim White on TalkSports and hearing what Gabby Agbonlahor has to say about him and getting really annoyed by it.
Yeah.
He's one of these players.
If you were Cristiano Ronaldo and Gabby Agbonlahor was giving out about you probably would be annoyed.
He's never on with Jim White, though. He's on the morning show.
Right, fair enough. Shows my ignorance towards TalkSport there. But I think he's one of these players that does enjoy having a bit of grist to the mill and improving people, quote unquote, wrong. So if he does have somebody who's slighted him, I think he probably feels the better for it and can kind of feed off it in the right way.
I don't know if you saw it then. I think it was on Michael Richards' social media somewhere where he was getting into an elevator with Gary Neville and Roy Keane, and he asked Neville, how do you feel about being blanked, and started roaring laughing, and Keane was like, what did he say to you? And then Neville told Keane, and Neville's response to Keane was, do you not think that's a bit sad that he cares what Gary Neville thinks? Why is he listening to us? So he was of a similar viewpoint to you.
It's good that Gary Neville thinks that about being the main pundit on.
To be fair, I think
getting paid a lot of money to wonder why players are worried about what he's saying.
The most influential voice and a former teammate, so of course he's going to notice what you have to say.
But he hasn't been. I feel like he's been very fair to Ronaldo. He's been very measured in what he's saying, and ultimately came down on the idea that he shouldn't be in the team. But you know, if this idea that Ronaldo can't accept that, I don't know. Look, I suppose everybody takes things personally.
Somebody says the Rugby World Cup starts the weekend in September that the Irish Open will be on. I think I can handle that, you know.
The first week of pool matches in the Rugby World Cup, I don't think it's going to let anybody lose sleep.
I think so. So, do you want to bring us any last story of note?
I don't, Joe, because that was literally the end of the
script.
Is that it?
Yeah. We don't usually get to the end.
I know, we got to the end today.
Why
were too busy. I don't know. We were too busy cutting you off talking about the Charlton brothers.
I think it's because we started a bit earlier. Often we waffle at the first
Richie probably wrote less because he's in here talking away all day as well, you know.
I was doing the Kelly Harris interview. I was doing a rugby podcast.
If we've missed big news,
there's no big news to be missed, Joe. There's no big news. I've got, you know, everything's trucking along here. We're fine. We're not going to miss anything good.
Okay.
Quick check.
Michael,
quick check.
Thank you very much, Michael. When are you back in studio again on Newsround?
Thursday, because I'm presenting.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Who knows, Joe? Who knows what lies in front of us?
Okay.
Life's a funny thing.
Well, what a pleasure it was.
Thanks, Joe.
Richie McCormack.
Back to my little hovel.
Yeah, back you go.
So good we ended early.
Yeah.
See, this is what happens.
All right, cash machine.
You need the delay.
We're done. Come on.
Your chance to win big. News Talk's cash machine.
Now, this week, a huge sum of cash to give away on Friday. All you have to do is know the cash machine prize if we call you on Friday, and we're making it very easy. In the cash machine this week, €70,000. So 70,000 euro. Text play to 57557. Get your entry in by 3 o'clock on Friday, and then across the Go Loud network of stations, Barry Dunn will make the call. If your phone rings, answer within 5 rings.